I'm BJ Cole. I come from London. I was born in London, raised in London, and I still live in London. I play the pedal steel guitar, which, as most people know over here, is a uniquely American instrument. And I got a handle on it fairly early on and love it. Just love the pedal steel guitar. Well, as I said, I've been playing guitar for a few years, and I started to find out about fantastic guitarists like Chet Atkins and Django Reinhardt and Merle Travis and all those sort of guys. And it sort of intimidated me somewhat. You know, I thought, well, these guys have got it covered. Why do I need to go here? This has already been covered. I love the sound of it, and I'm still a fan of guitar music. But the pedal steel, it seemed to me, had not really been covered. You know, there are lots of great pedal steel players, but they're working in country music or Hawaiian music, and nobody had really expanded what the pedal steel could do. And I always really believed that the pedal steel could be taken to new areas. It was such a pleasant thing working with Luke Vibert. He's a fantastic musician. Well, the album Stop the Panic was released in about 2000, 5 years ago. And we spent about 3 years working on it together. And I found Luke because somebody recommended that I get in touch with him, because I had a desire to work with DJs in that culture. You know, thinking, well, you know, as I said already, I wanted to take the pedal steel into new areas. And it seemed like that's where the audience was. And the album did pretty well. And we came over to the USA and we toured, and we had kids coming along to the clubs where we were playing. They were looking at the pedal steel going, I've never seen anything like that before. And that was always very intriguing to me, because in the USA you think everybody knows what a pedal steel is, but the kids didn't know what it was, you know, which is very interesting. You know, but it was a very positive experience. And at the end of that project, I was thinking, well, you know, I want to continue this. I want to do this some more. Maybe not only with Luke, because obviously he wanted to go on and make some more of his own albums, as he has done. And I thought, well, yeah, maybe to make it more my record, I could work with different people as well as Luke. You know, and having worked with Luke, and because Luke is held in such esteem by the electronica community, a lot of doors were opened. It's much harder. It takes more time, because you have to go from, obviously you create a dialogue with one collaborator, and then you have to jump to the next guy, you know, backwards and forwards. He gives you the beats, you do the pedal steel part or whatever you think is appropriate for that track, and at the same time you've got to also be holding a dialogue with 11 other guys. It's like, you know, getting the plate spinning, the old vaudeville act, you know. So that's how I see it. And of course that's very time consuming. And when you've pulled all those different tracks together to make an album's worth of material, then I have to set my own stamp on it, you know, to make it into a whole, to make it into a unified record. Oh, there's plenty to talk about Trouble in Paradise. You know, as I was putting the album together, it was very hard to see how the overall image or personality of the album would evolve, and what would be the overall picture of the album. When I started trying to put names to the various tracks, because obviously, as most of them are instrumental, I had to try and visualize what the picture of them was and what the label I would have to put on each track would be. And I came up with Trouble in Paradise for the first track. And that seemed to be the keynote for the whole thing, because it's got a sort of road movie feel. You know, to me, even though I come from England, I have an obsession with American iconography. and road movies being part of that. I think it very much reflects that, and I think the titles of the tracks and what lyrics there are on the album really flesh that idea out. And Trouble in Paradise is very much a part of the culture. You know, we try and make our surroundings paradise. You know, but there's always things going wrong, and you know, it's decadent, and you know, we're trying to make it as best as we can, and you know, but there's trouble in paradise, basically. I think I have to trust in myself that my own style of musical input arches over the whole project in such a way as that it encompasses the differences of each particular track. I think if I've been if I've been working in studios for 30 years, as I have, it's bound to have, give me a confidence that I wouldn't, that people that haven't had that experience, I think that of course. Even though I view my own records as being quite a different area from what I do with other people. I mean, obviously, when I'm working with Sting or with Elton John, I'm going in and doing a job. You know, they're pulling me in for 6 hours, 8 hours, and I leave it, and that's my job done. But with this, obviously, I'm the person that's the most involved. I don't think I had a complete vision of any of the tracks in terms of exactly how I figured they were going to turn out. It was a voyage of discovery in nearly all cases. The last track, El Sei Où Elle Va, the one I did with Laura B, that was just a pedal steel part and a simple groove, not complex. And she added lots of vocal elements that made it into a complete textural masterpiece. I think it's a fantastic track, that. Also, Milkshake Roadmap, which is something that I spent, I spent with the help of Guy Jackson. We spent months shaping, cut and paste as you do in digital audio, and turning into something that's very wacky, that track. Also, the track with Luke Biber. You know, he gave me some beats that were pretty industrial, 303, hard electronica, and I put banjo and fiddle on them, because I have this thing, if there's a sound like a 303 banging away, like on a dance floor sort of beat, and it reminds me of, for instance, a banjo, highly rhythmic, yet a banjo is acoustic, obviously, and comes from a completely different musical domain. But I just love the sort of contrast you get when you put the two together, and that was an interesting track. It's almost like coming home. I wish I'd have made the record for 5-1 in the first place. It works so much better. It breathes better. Obviously, from a commercial point of view, it has to be in stereo to start with, because that's where you get your plays. In broadcast terms, if you're going to get plays on the radio, then it needs to be in stereo. So, from a practical point of view, it has to be in stereo first. But it works better in 5-1, this record. It's almost like my imagination was reaching out with each of the tracks towards that sort of spatial concept. And I had to try and fit a quart into a pint pot to put it in stereo. And now I'm able to spread it out into the medium it seems to fit better. I'm BJ Cole.
Thank you. That was from The Interloper.